Good
So,
morning,
yeah.
Ramin. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Well, I'm here in Toronto, and we are going to be very, very lucky because we are getting this tour coming to our great city. How exciting is it for you? You've been on tour before, but how exciting is it to bring this music to life?
Oh, it's absolutely an incredible experience for myself because as a studio composer, I never get to experience the connection with the live audience. So for me to be actually on stage and perform this music and really be right there with the live audience is it's an incredible experience for me. This is the second North America tour now. We have updated the show. We have included music
Yeah.
from season 7. We really reworked the stage, the lighting. It's really a very updated show and a very different show now than last year's show. And I'm just so excited to be able to come back now a second time.
I can just imagine. Now, what is it like for you? As you say, you're in the studio, you're composing this wonderful music that, audiences, when we watch it on television, we connect to it so well. But then you're out there on stage, and it's kind of in a way like a rock show. I mean, people are really getting into this. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, and yeah, you said it. I mean, rock show. That was always the intent. I really wanted to cross over from an instrumental orchestral show into a more contemporary rock show. That's why we said, well, we have dragons on screen, so how about let's add some
Yeah.
pyro to the show. When we're north of the wall, let's have some snow, and this immersive experience. It really allows the audience to have fun. It makes them feel like they're in Westeros. They see the favorite moments from the show, and it just creates a fun ride. And yeah, for me to be right up there on stage and experience that and have live musicians perform the music, it really brings the music to life, and it's just very, very emotional and very exciting.
Yes, very emotional indeed. I am sure. You've been working on this show when it started. Now, I mean, we're going to have season 8, and people are very much in depression because it's going to be over. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But when you started working on this show, did you ever, in a million years, think like, how it was going to connect with people and how popular it would be in pop culture?
No, never. I mean, and that's something I never try to think about when I take on a project. I mean, I saw the first 2 episodes of the show, and it just blew me away. And then I met the showrunners, David Benioff and Dan Weiss, and I just clicked with them right away. That everything about it just seemed right, and
Yeah.
it's just incredible to see that the show has had so much success because it's incredible storytelling, incredible cast, everything involved and everybody involved in the show. It's an amazing team, and I just feel very fortunate to be part of this team and to be working on this show. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is beautiful. There's no question about it. And I want to know from you who are some of your musical mentors? There's so many amazing. There's Hans Zimmer, of course. I mean, there's just so many people who've influenced you.
Well, originally, actually, it's John Williams and Elmer Bernstein are the ones that, as a kid, really triggered it for me to want to become a film composer. And then you mentioned Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer actually has been a huge mentor of mine, and I've been fortunate that I actually got my foot through the door by meeting Hans, and he took me under his wing, and I learned so much from him. He is a dear friend now, and I really look up to him. He's an
Hmm.
incredible composer.
Yeah, I want to see a collaboration with the two of you. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love that. Absolutely.
Okay, we'll call his people and see if we can get that to go. Another show that I absolutely am enthralled with is Westworld, and you write the music for that too. It is amazing. How do you go from one to the other? Like, where in your brain, what is your process like? I mean, I can't expect you to answer this in a minute, but when you're given something completely different, like something like Westworld, how does that work for you?
Well, I think part of being a film composer is that you have to be a musical chameleon, and I think that's what excites me about the job. That every time you start a new project, you're trying to come up with something new and something different, and so it's really exciting. But it's also actually a pretty daunting task. So, every time I start a new project, you try to start with a clean slate, and you go, what's my instrumentation? What are the themes I'm going to write? And so I always feel that the beginning is always the hardest, but that's where it gets exciting because you can be creative. And I sit with the director or the showrunners and the producers, and I try to get into their head and see what is their vision for this particular project. And Game of Thrones, Westworld, for example, I think the shows couldn't be any more different from another, and therefore also musically, I had to sit back and go, okay, what is it that's different about this? What's the approach? What's the sounds? All these things, all these questions in the beginning before I even start writing. But yeah, again, that's the exciting part, and it's and it becomes fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this season, we had Shogun World. Did you enjoy that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this show is just, creatively, it allows me musically to explore really in so many different areas. And then this second season with Shogun World, it really pushed it even further because I could, from the existing Westworld sound, I could really expand further into a more ethnic sound and write new themes, take some of the existing themes and rearrange them on these different types of instruments. Again, really, really creative and really fun to do.
Well, yeah, just, thank you for all of the wonderful music that you've given us. I mean, it really is amazing. And I can imagine for you such a daunting experience. And we are going into season 8. Have you had a chance to see any of it yet? Have you started composing for that? What can we expect?
No, to be honest, actually, I have not seen anything yet. I'm just as curious and excited as everybody else. I feel like this concert now is the perfect holdover for us, and it's getting us all pumped to see what's coming up for this final season. And I can't wait to see what's coming up and also what that means musically. How am I going to write this final season? I can't wait to find out.
Yeah, well, we can't wait to find out either. But in the meantime, I hope every single Game of Thrones fan, and even if you're not a Game of Thrones fan, just go. You get the chills. I watched some of it online. You were doing some rehearsal footage for the Light of the Seven. I was getting chills. I mean, honestly, what an experience. So thank you for bringing this on tour, and we can't wait to see you here in Toronto. I believe it's at the Air Canada Centre in October. So we'll look for you there.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I can't wait to come back. And it's like you said, actually, I think even for people that have not seen Game of Thrones, I think this concert is just a perfect crash course with all the highlights of the show, and it really brings you up to speed right away, and really then makes you want to go watch the show, and you realize what the hype is all about, and get ready for season 8.